more than one person. Because if you're one person, that is it. That is your strength. You're one person deep. But if you've got pillars and you've got people around you that make you strong, you can't break that. That's kind of my model, my theory, even when I was a solo agent. So I will tell you a little bit more about myself after. But Lizzie and I have the two of my favorite stories about my business partners are with these two. So the very first time I met Lizzie, I said, I don't care. I have my lender and I'm happy. So no, just don't bug me. I don't care. I have my lender. She was like, okay. And as we all know in this business, our vendors and people that we use and trust can fail us. And I kind of have a model of, I understand if you made a mistake, and then by the second one of the same issue, and by the third, I was like, okay, Lizzie, I'm ready, full force. And she became my primary lender, and it's been a wild ride since. I remember sitting in her office when I started this team, and I was like, Lizzie! I was terrified. And most people don't ever see that side of me, so I was like, you're the only one. So Lizzie is a phenomenal, have you guys all worked with her? No?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, you want me to brag? You want me to tell them all the great things about you?
So, a couple of things you guys should know about me, right? So, I've been in lending for about 17 years. I've worked as a loan officer in the recession in 2008 when everything was collapsing. Built my entire business on educating real estate agents on difficult types of loans to get done. In my career, I've gone from a top producing loan officer, closed like about 10 deals a month, to closing over 1,000 this year, right? I run a 30-person team. And we've consistently kept like one of the best reputations for lending in the last 5 years in the Valley. My team's been #1. And so I think I can share some advice about how to run a team, how to be a good business partner. Yeah, and if you get any good nuggets from me today, I hope you'll consider us in the future.
Yeah, but you're like the #1 female loan officer, the #1, didn't you just take #1 in?
So I'm #1 female loan officer in the country, #10 loan officer in the country, #1 Hispanic loan officer.
Hispanic
in the country.
Like Spanish speaking. When I met Lizzie, I was like, no way. And she's like, yeah. And then I heard her belt out some music, and I was like, wow, she's really good. But she is very good with Spanish speaking clients. I mean, she even just tackled a deaf client for me. And then Chris.
Awesome.
So Chris and I didn't really know each other. He knew Lizzie and Sammy, Lizzie's right hand. And I was at an event of Lizzie's, and I was fairly happy with the title company I was working with. But one thing I can tell you is when I say it takes a village, somebody should be more than you give them business. They have to be a resource. And I'm not referring to giving you referrals. I'm not even talking about that, because that is your job. Your job as an agent is to define your business and to go get that business. This is how I feel. It is not their job to feed me business. If they come across someone and they feel I'm a good fit, I'm honored. But it is my job to go find that business. What I feel value in a partner is, what can they do to help me better my business? What can they do to teach me something I didn't know? What can they do to give me a resource? And when I met Chris, we were standing outside. It was at a Valentine's Day event, which I was just there because I love Lizzie. It's not my thing. I'm like, kids running around and love in the air, and I'm like, but I'll be there because I love you. And Chris and I were standing there, and I said, just nonchalantly, I said, I'm trying to plan my first annual team event, and I am just up against the wall. Like, I don't know what's a good prep, like what's good, where, this, that. And I had mentioned to him, and I said, the rep that I had mentioned back in November when I started telling her that she could help me do this event, and then just nothing. That was on a Saturday. By Monday, now remember, we don't do business together. I was just talking to him. By Monday, I had this massive email that listed all the venues I could do, what my original thoughts were, why he felt that maybe wasn't the best for financial reasons and having people show up, and then his recommendation of what he would do, and he had called to get pricing, and they were available on the date I had mentioned.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa. And then I called him and I said, hey, I'm not saying you have my business right now, but I'm saying you just opened a barn door. Let's meet. And since then, that I will fight. If you ever get a contract from me, I will fight to the death to get lawyer's title, and there's a reason. So that's Chris. This is Chris Medina. I'll let you tell a little bit more about you and your incredible team.
It is a team. So I have not been in the business as long as Lizzie or as long as Torie. I've only been in the business a little over 7 years. I walked into a very fortunate situation that I have a team of escrow officers and a company as a whole that, between the top two that I work with, they have over almost 70 years of experience combined. So I lean a lot on them, right? So feeding into it takes a village. That is my first village, was my team. I have a great sales manager that has a ton of experience, and I lean on them a lot as I kind of got up and running to learn some of the basics and some of the ways we could go above and beyond. So to Torie's other point, my job is to save you time, save you money, and help you get more business, right? To give you ideas, to give you tools, to give you stats, things that can go out and get you that next deal, that first deal, that next 5, whatever it may be. I don't believe in the old school method of, hey, we can print a bunch of postcards for you. Cool, they're gonna go in the trash. How about I can give you the next tool that can get you in front of the next 5 to 10 people, right? Because it's a numbers game at the end of the day. So we are a little, I don't want to say unorthodox, we're a little bit more real when it comes to those kind of things. I was fortunate to connect with Torie that day. Timing worked out. She was happy with what I had presented to her at the time. And moving forward from there, my goal has always been with Torie and her team, okay, what do you need next? You may be happy now, but what's the next goal? And obviously, if I come across something, whether it's something that she had thought about or not, I'm always trying to present to her and all of our other agent partners what I think is going to be the next best thing for them, because every agent is different, right? You're an individual agent, you're a team, you're a new agent, you have a bigger team, you have a team Torie size. Everybody's needs are a little bit different, so I can't just mass blast an email out of, hey, I saw this tool. Okay, that's going to fall on 60% deaf ears at that point in time, right? So you really have to know your partners and analyze what their needs are and try to fit that in based on how they intend to grow their business and or their team in that situation. One of the things, I know that this is focused on an agent and or a team surrounding themselves with good partners, but the partners have to be able to communicate as well, right? Because if we don't communicate very well, the whole thing falls apart. And one of the best things, that the best partners that I have come across in this business, agent, lender, or anybody, is Lizzie, because of the ability for her team to communicate with mine, right? So that the agent can go out and be focused on the team, the next deal, whatever it is, and while their transactions are happening, we can be communicating in the background to make sure everything is taken care of. And I haven't come across anybody that communicates as well as Lizzie and her team, and that makes their jobs that much easier to go out and have that next transaction, knowing that, and I know that you're going to hit this at some point in time, but that her teams are taking care of all these things, right? Aside from that, as far as lawyers is concerned, we're a Fortune 500 company. Our family of companies does 1 out of every 3 title transactions in the nation. Okay, we have hundreds of title companies that are attached to us nationwide. The reason I bring that up isn't because it's like, oh, hey, we're cool, we have a lot of money. That doesn't matter. It's the resources we have. Just a second ago, Guy asked Lizzie about doing out-of-state loans. And just like that, she said, I don't have anybody, but gave a name for the person that could do a loan in Florida, right? So those connections and the ability to always be able to help you no matter what's going on is where your true value comes in. Title and escrow, having a loan, I'm not going to say we have the best loan officers and everybody else sucks. At the end of the day, it's our job to get the contract done, right? And have everything executed. That's our job. Everybody has some good escrow officers, everybody has some that aren't so great. It's what else can you bring to the table to make you more of a complete agent and or team.
Now, you guys know who I am. My name's Torie. I've been with my home group for 2.5 years. Actually, I'm here because of Lizzie. Because I said, what do I do? Where do I go? And she said, go meet Mark. And I just absolutely, Mark was my first contact. And just hands down, felt like this was home for me. And on a daily, you guys, even new agents, probably get marketed all the time from companies. You can imagine with the volume I do, the amount of marketing I get from title, from real estate companies, from lenders. And the reality is I kind of have my blinders on, right? Like I'm very happy where I'm at. And as long as you stay true to me, I'm going to stay loyal to you. Because once you get a system that works, you can focus on other things. And both of these people have grown with me from being, just me and to a team. And a team of 10, 12, 8, 9. We go all over the board just because, again, culture is everything for me. But I started my career many years ago, many years ago, 20 years ago. And I started in Tucson. My first deal was $40,000. That was the best cutting my teeth transaction I've ever done. I did not have a broker that helped me. I didn't have a mentor. I just had to wing it, and I got through it. And,
how'd that happen?
I was in a brokerage, and I was brand new, and a friend of mine who had recommended real estate to me said, go to this brokerage. And I was like, okay. I had no clue. So I'm sitting in the office, because that's what I'll do. I'll go to the office. And I hear this screaming from the broker. I can hear it, and I'm like, I left that brokerage not 2 months ago. Because I was like, I can't. Geez, I don't know if I should duck and cover, like bring something to protect myself here. But he was screaming. And how it had started was another agent there had a deal that they put in contract, and they were in their inspection period. And the client had 2 days left on their inspection period. $40,000 historic home in Tucson. And was furious and was threatening to sue the broker because he was going to lose this deal, and the inspections that he requested weren't there. The agent that he had hired had a second job, and she did professional makeup for Hollywood, and she just went off to do her makeup. So the guy hadn't heard from her, hence broker screaming, hence, Torie, take this call. Okay.
Put out the fire, huh? Firefighter.
Well, so if you're not fighting fires, you don't really have a job, right? Because real estate, if you think it's opening a door and, well, this is Corian and this is marble and right? Like if you saw me show a house, you'd crack up. But I said, oh, okay, I'll fix it. And the guy literally was screaming, and I said, okay, first and foremost, I haven't let you down yet, right? And I'm not going to. So let me just tell you this. Talk to me professionally, and I will take care of this. But I don't get screamed at, and I won't be cursed at. That is not how you handle yourself in business. Are we clear? And now you have to understand, 20 years ago, I was this bleach blonde little girl with I looked like I was 18, and I'm in this old codger society, like they used to call it in Tucson. And I'm just like, no, this is how I'm gonna do things. So I had to get gas turned on to have everything inspected. I had to sit in a folding chair in this neighborhood for hours. There's gunshots down the street, and I'm just like, what did I get into? Close that file. And that guy ended up referring me more business.
Wow.
So that was my very first transaction.
Awesome.
Had a company in Tucson, went through the market crash. I can tell you back then, and my team has heard me say this, I failed. In my opinion, I failed. And my number one reason for failure was I did not have a system and I did not have a process. And I'm telling you today, since I came up here, I've been here about 10 years, and getting into it up here again, I have changed that massively. Having a system, a process, and a plan. If you do not have that, you're just massively guessing and winging what you do. Those systems, processes, and plans will keep you successful when the market shifts. Because now, if you would ask me 20 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, why are you so successful? I just said, I'm just really freaking good at what I do. I say they afford a lot of do it because we're on Facebook Live. I'm just really freaking good at what I do. That's it. I'm really good at real estate. Well, that's great, but why? What is your plan? What is your system? What is your process to not fail when the market shifts? And each of you should be thinking about that, because we've been through one market shift. Right now, we're dealing with it. You've got low inventory, but you've got amazing rates. You've got a market shift right now. We are not a buyer's market right now. And we used to be. Is it going to shift again? Absolutely. But you have to know how to shift with it. And having a system, a process, and a plan is everything. That is going to set you apart from somebody who's just winging what they do. And maybe even doing well at it for the time being. It's that long term. Yeah. So, moved up here, like I said, started this team 2.5 years ago, and did it with, literally when I left the company I was with, my then at the time, he's one of my better agents now, said to me, I am Team Torie, where you go, I go. And I said, are you sure? Because I'm starting a team. And he goes, you won't fail. You can't fail. I don't care. I'm with you. And I said, but I'm just starting. And I mean, that's it. I'm going to just go for it. And he still to this day is with me. And he is blended out and full-time agent and doing amazing. So that's who I am, how I am. I'm happy to answer more questions. I will be around after. But let's get into it.
So let's talk about structure, right? So a lot of you came in here, probably some of you have businesses, you said you were new. Where do you start? So fundamentally, right, so for you newer agents, write this book down. It's called The 7 Levels of Communication. So if you are somebody brand new to building a business, right, this is going to give you the fundamentals of what she was talking about with a system and a plan and a process. Okay, so it teaches you, one, how to build a database, right? So that is a key pillar to business that you absolutely have to have. And then it gives you a structure for how to communicate with that business and teaches you the importance of the communication pyramid, right? So in communication, right, how we market to people, how we communicate, how we apply our processes, not every single method of communication is created equally. So an email is going to be far less effective than a personal face-to-face conversation. Do we agree?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that book is going to give you the foundation if you've barely started. Now, if you're somebody who has been in the business, I would say 2 to 3 years, right, you should look up a book called Traction. Traction is by far the best business book I have ever read in my entire life. I read it once a year, and I have a Traction VTO for my plan. It's called a Vision Tracker Organizer. Okay, and so what it does is that it helps you identify your core values and the type of business that you're building. So one of the things that I omitted from my bio is that in 2014 I got fired from my job. Okay, so when you get fired from your job, what happens? Okay, they walk you out with a box with all your stuff, and you don't get to keep your clients, you don't get to keep your computer, you lose everything, right? So that was 6 years ago. Okay, remember I said I was a top producer then, so I felt that that was really crucial, but what really helped me, right, is at that pivotal moment in time, I decided what kind of business am I building? Okay, now, as a loan officer and as a real estate agent, you're like, well, I'm in the business of selling homes, yes or no? Yeah, that is the product that you sell. That is not the business you build. Okay, one of the coolest things about an actual brand and an actual business, right? I can tell you who's a brand and who's a business, okay? Can you tell me if Nike wanted to build a hotel, okay, what do you think it would look like? Just start shouting out stuff. What do you think it would be around?
Sporty.
Okay, so you could see what kind it would look like, but what do you think it would have in there? Do you think it would have a juice bar? Do you think it would have a gym?
Probably.
Yeah.
Do you think it would have like state-of-the-art technology in terms of fitness?
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, could you see it though? Can you kind of picture it in your mind? Okay. What if Hyatt wanted to create a shoe? Okay. Nike's a brand and a real business. It can translate to a variety of different things, right? Because people understand that it's about fitness and about health and about just getting off your butt, right? Just do it. Okay. Now, we know Hyatt's a hotel. Okay, but I can't tell you anything about Hyatt. Like, literally nothing. I think it's kind of like Hilton. I mean, I'm not even 100% sure. I think they're by the airport, right? Like, nothing. So, when you're thinking about real estate, right, who do you help? So, I'm going to give you an example with my business, right? And then I'm going to challenge you guys to write down the type of business you create. So, I have a business, an educational business, that helps first-time homebuyers. Okay? So, I teach first-time homebuyers how to, one, be successful homeowners, how to save money, and understand the process. Now, because that is my primary clientele, right, I have to find business partners that also, right, help first-time homebuyers. Okay? Which means that I have to have core values that support first-time homebuyers, right, that have solutions for business partners that help first-time homebuyers. Now, in mortgage, I can help investors, second home buyers, refinances, move-up buyers, retirees. I can help 1031 exchanges. I can help construction loans. I can help jumbo people, right? You see there's a gambit, right? But I've chosen one, right? Because if I choose the one demographic, it has enough business that if I did every first-time home buyer in Phoenix, I would be literally the best loan officer in the history of the face of the universe. Okay, do you see how that works? Okay, so think about who you help, right? So Torie, who do you help?
I'm going to tell you everybody.
She actually, well,
I mean, I do. I have, my career has been focused on buyers. My career has been focused heavily on buyers, and we've shifted that as my team has grown to me focusing on listings. But I can tell you right now that if you ask me my specialty, it would be in that mid-range and price point. But it wasn't always that way. And I just sold one in the 140,000, 180,000, because I'll help everyone. But
she helps distressed home buyers. Seriously, I have not met one client that works with Torie that is not a distressed home buyer of some kind, right? Like, she helped somebody whose husband just died. She helped a deaf guy who literally couldn't, nobody would help him, right? The panicked $40,000 buyer she just told you about, what was he doing before he called her? He was hysterical with someone else. If you are losing your mind, which typically happens in real estate, you want her to be the person handling your transaction. Okay? And you're what do you tell people? I'm an awesome negotiator. I control the process. I have an excellent team. Don't worry about it. I got it. How many times have I heard you say that? Not your problem. Don't worry about it. I've got it. So if you have any stress, do you think there's stress in real estate? Do you think that there are stressed out clients in real estate?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you guys don't sound enthusiastic enough. Yes or no?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. Then that's the product, right? She has a business that creates real estate solutions for stressed out buyers and sellers. Guess who else she helps? Stressed out real estate agents. Okay, she grows a team. You guys are on her team. When you started with your team, did you know what you were doing? You knew, not so new, right? Not so new, right? But you were just coming off a team, right? And you're looking for a super strong leader that had a plan, process, right? Stressed out new real estate agents are her jam, right? Do you see this? Right? It's a brand. It's a concept. When I have a stressed out person, right, relocating, think about all the times when you could be stressed out. Getting married, getting divorced, having a baby, right, relocating from another state, right? I think of Torie. The crazier the person, I'm like, I got have someone for you. Hold on. Right? It's Torie. So, right now, do me a favor, take 2 minutes, write down who you can help. Your ideal client. And then we'll answer your question. I know. What does that mean?
Yeah. Like gang signs just happened.
And guys, a brand can be something that you're all about. I had an agent that her brand was theater. That was her passion. That was her brand. That's who we went towards.
Is this who you want to help or who you've helped?
Who do you see yourself as?
It's the business you're helping, right? So it's who you do now. Look, you attract what you know, not what you want, really.
Correct.
So just what you're doing.
People want to work with you they know, love, and trust. Right? So who do you identify with? What's your passion?
Are you and that's the other thing.
Clients,
So here's the deal, okay? Because we can go down this rabbit hole, but I'm sure everyone wants to get their questions answered. If you do not know how to answer this question, this is your first aha moment. Okay? This is the first time you're like, maybe I just sell a product and I'm not really growing a business.
And maybe you're just really good at what you've been doing, but now you have to apply a system to it. In order to weather the storms that will come in this career, 20 years, I can tell you there will be many. In order to do that, don't get caught not being able to answer something. And when you do, dig in, find an answer, find a solution, and find your path. Find your brand or who you define yourself as.
Now, when you figure out who you're helping, the number one thing you're going to want to do next is figure out what the client's biggest problem is. So first-time home buyers typically have a problem with cash, right? They're scared about down payments, they have closing costs, right? Monthly payments, their budgets, right? So I offer solutions for that. So I do a lot of educational. Remember I said I run an educational business that helps first-time home buyers? So I teach about budgeting. I teach about money principles. I have a YouTube channel. I have group coaching. I do a lot of stuff that's educational, right? So identify their biggest struggles. Your job is to come up with solutions, okay? So, for instance, with a new agent, right? Because so we're gonna take this example and relate it to Torie's business, right? So with a brand new agent, what are the tools, right? What do you think their biggest problems are and what kind of solutions do you help them with?
So as a brand new agent, the very first thing I tell my agents is I want your 5 pillars of business. We need to create 5 pillars of business. 5 ways that you define how you're gonna pull business.
So 5 lead gen sources.
And you need 5. I have roughly 17, let's call it, but somebody producing the level I should have 15 to 20, right? But for you, as even new to medium producing, whatever you want to be, 5 sources. That's the first thing we define. Because then, in that, the next thing I tell my agents is let's get in touch with Chris. Because if one of yours is farming, what does farming look like? Is it something you're going to expect a result in 3 months? No. That's a very long-term goal. It can be beneficial, but you need to know what that pillar is going to pay out and when it's going to pay out and how to do it right. That's where Chris comes in, and Lizzie in defining systematic things. So if you're 5 pillars of business and we define them, now my job is to help you maximize each of those sources and get to the point where we're honing in on making sure each pillar makes sense. If you tell me one of your pillars is social media and there's no posts, there's no nothing, and I watch your stuff for a month and I'm like, question, one of your pillars is social? Yeah. Are you on a social platform I'm not seeing? Because I don't see anything. How are we going to get business if you're not using it?
So one of the things that she's talking about here is a brand new agent, one, probably doesn't know what pillar of business is. Yes or no?
No.
Great.
Didn't.
Right? So she has an automatic plan the day that you start for how you generate business. Because a first-time agent's biggest problem is leads, right? Leads, right? And they would go to Torie to find out, how do I generate business, right? So she just gave a solution. First thing for the biggest problem, leads, 5 pillars of business. She's gonna help you break that down. She's going to help you figure out a process, and then she's going to hold you accountable. And let me tell you, if you're looking for someone to hold you accountable, it is that woman right there. I mentioned once that I wanted to go on a diet, and I swear to God, I was like, well, do you know how many calories is in that? Do you know? I was like, oh my God. Right? Like,
Whole cucumber has 45 calories. I was
Right.
texting her that. Have it with salsa. That's 20 calories.
right? So that's the thing, right? So those are the problems, right? A new agent's going to go, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to get leads. I have a ton of questions. I don't know the process, right?
So, with that though, the second thing we talk about, and everyone on my team can pull up their calendar and show you right now what it looks like. And if they can't, they're in trouble. Because this is something, I don't mandate my team to do something they don't want. I say it all the time, I am not here to wipe your behind. I do not want to be the person that has to say, why aren't you doing this? Right? I'm not here to nag you. But if you come to me and you say, I want to do 10 million this year, I'm like, okay, we're going to get there. And I will take you hand by hand and I will hold you accountable and I will show you the path to get there. And by God, you will do 10 million. Matter of fact, you'll probably do 12 if you follow every step. But does it mean you sleep until 9? Does it? Nope. Get up. Get this, do this, and all of them, daily routine, their calendars are blocked. If I tell you I'm going to hold an open house and I do not have it on my calendar, am I going to hold that open house?
Why not?
No. If you have a doctor's appointment and you don't put it in your calendar, are you going to show up? Nope. Are you one of those that's like, I got it all up here. I'm on it. Cool. Let me know how you're doing when you're producing 24 million by yourself with no assistant. Because I can tell you what that life looks like. It is
that what
6 a.m. leaving, getting home at 9 p.m., maybe 10, having a massive notebook next to me, got hair losing, and Every part of my day was calendar blocked. And literally when someone said, can I see this house? I can get you in from 10:15 to 10:45. Would you like to meet me at the property, or did you want to meet at the Circle K on the corner and ride with me? Boom, they were in, and I was on to the next. 47 homes I showed in 2 days. That's a lot of freaking homes.
That is a lot.
But if I didn't time block and I didn't have my calendar on point, yeah, 4 homes. Could have showed 4. That's another big issue with new agents, because all of a sudden, I don't have a boss. This is so fun. I can get up at 8, I can get up at 9. Oh, you want to go for cocktails at 2? Sure. Meh, you're done. You are your own boss. Guys, if you could get up and show up for someone every day for 8, 9 hours a day, and you're feeding their pockets, what are you doing? You could put the money in your pockets. Real estate is a lucrative career. You can make a lot of money. You can't make a lot of money focusing on the money, but you can make a lot of money by focusing on the right things. Calendar block, daily routines, that's the second thing we cover.
Totally. So before you can get to that part, and we're gonna really hammer out like what a daily routine looks like for the 3 of us, you have to figure out, so we've nailed who our clients are, biggest problems. Now you have to take yourself through the life of your transaction from lead to post-closing. What happens? Okay, it's called, for us, it's called the life of a loan. For you guys, it's the life of a transaction. So when you get a lead, write this down. When I get a lead, what happens? How many times do I follow up on it? Okay. Like, how long do I follow up on it? Okay. Then, when it comes, they want to meet, right? What happens from there? Okay. Then they meet, you write a contract. What happens from there? Then they, after the contract, they're in escrow. What happens from there, right? You need to write down all of it. And this is actually how you define your swim lanes, right? So like for me, what's super important is figuring out everything that needs to be done, ideally, right, to grow a business. And then, look, anyone can handle 5 escrows. You might be stressed, but you can handle 5 escrows, right? Like, what's your number, 10?
I could successfully do about 15.
I know, I was
But I have a
like,
team.
but by yourself, like without a team, like 15, yeah.
With systems.
That was my number 2 for loans. I can handle 15 loans. Now, you give me 16 loans, starts to crumble, okay? So, what you have to identify in that, what are the absolute things that you as the business owner has to control? Like, what do you control and what things can you delegate? Okay, once you figure out what you can delegate, right, what you can hire out for, that's how you create actual swim lanes, right? And then this is my job, this is your job, this is the next job, okay?
Who thinks they're good at delegating? Giving up a little bit of power. You raise your hand, you're lying. Realtors are the worst delegators in the world.
I can delegate.
Nobody wants to give up power. It's not gonna work if I don't do it myself. The first step to taking that next step is admitting that you can't do everything.
This guy right there. Calling him out. Look, he won't even look up because he knows. Those heavy eyes are on him. That was
That's the
our
first
biggest
step.
challenge. Our biggest challenge with you, Preston, was what?
Yeah, delegate.
Delegating.
Let it go, because nobody's gonna do it the way that I do it, right? Having a transaction coordinator, an assistant, anybody.
Guys, listen. What does a transaction coordinator cost you? Transaction manager, I call it. Transaction. Do you know? Does anybody know? How much?
Around 400 transactionally.
Yep. Ours, 350.
250 to 400 is everything I've
So
Yeah.
let me ask you something. How many hours are you going to take from contract to close to manage that file? This one, I love him to death, my team manager. A couple weeks ago, he goes, I got this file. I'm just doing this. It's kind of one of those deals, like we put it together. I'm going to manage it. What? It's $300. How many hours is that going to take you? Oh yeah, you're right. I'll pay the $300. Yeah, because in that time we're going to put another deal in escrow and go make $7 grand. What are you doing? Delegating. Using people that are really good at that. And they're probably going to manage that file just probably a little bit better than you. And instead of worrying about the $300, go sell another house. Go find another client. Go have coffee with someone. How you doing? I heard things were rough.
Spoken like a true top producer. The reason people hate delegating though is because of mistakes, right? So one of the biggest things that'll make you an awesome salesperson is that you live up to all your expectations, work super hard, give A+ service, and then when you delegate it, balls get dropped. Okay, that's just what happens. If you're ever gonna do a large business, like I am lucky on days where only one mistake is made by each team member. Do you remember how many team members I said I had? Right, 27? So I am lucky on the days that I have 28 problems, including the one that I made, right? So just know, right, so when that happens, right, what is your problem for troubleshooting? Because this is probably like a really big deal for some of the people that are.
So the first
Control.
mistake someone makes, and again, any of my team can tell you, the very first mistake I'm gonna say, what did I do wrong? How did I not train you? What did I not tell you that caused this to happen? Whether it's transaction management or it's one of my agents, the very first mistake I'm going to turn and look inward. What did I not help you understand? That's on me. I believe that to my core is that when I'm handing over a file, because you all know how detail oriented I am, every time I open an escrow and my team opens escrows, we have a defined format that it is a fill in the blank. Do not tell me, oh, I missed that. No, you don't. Fill it in. It's fill in the blank. Attach the things, boom, it goes to the lender, it goes to title, it goes to everybody's involved, right? But that's the first question. But then by the second time, I'm going, same mistake, okay, and I'm the first to fire people. I'm the quickest to be like, yeah, we're done, because my clients can't feel those bumps. But there is ways that you prevent, if you're looking for transaction management or certain things like that, you prevent as many mistakes as you can by sitting down in the beginning and giving them thoroughly what your expectations are, making sure that their actions can meet your expectations. And we had a TM for a very long time, and I told her when we started, I'm doing 10 a month right now, but I'm telling you we are going to be doing 20 a month. And then when we hit 20 a month, it'll be 30 a month, and then it'll be 40. Are you sure you can handle that volume? And when you get to the point that you can't, what is our next step? And we kind of had a process and a plan, right? So you have to be able to delegate in order to move your business forward. But with that, your touch has to be on when you delegate and communication with them.
So one of the things that I have done personally that's been very tactful in my business is I've created an I'm sorry program. So this is like a golden nugget. You should be like going, oh my God, I'm sorry. So your team members will make a mistake. Your assistants will make a mistake. Your transaction manager, your loan officer, your title person, we're all gonna mess up, okay? We're not robots, we're humans, and humans make mistakes, okay? So number one in crisis management, I always own it. I don't care if it's my fault or not. You always own it, you say I'm sorry, and depending on how bad the mistake is, I send a present, okay? No, I'm not kidding. Presents work. They do. It's like a universal love language, right? So most people, they want a quick I'm sorry. They just want an I'm sorry. They want to be heard. You got to listen to the whole thing. So if you ever do any research, there's a really good article on NPR on the cycle of a tantrum, okay? It works for 2-year-olds the same way it works for adults. People get really angry. The pinnacle of anger starts at the very beginning. The faster you can approach that, the quicker you diffuse it. The person who's angry has to vomit all of the things that they're angry about. It can take anywhere from like 5 to 15 minutes. You can't say anything. Okay, mute your phone. Right? Then once they do, you say, I'm so sorry. What can I do to make it better? Okay, they will give you 1 or 2 things, and you say, great, so if I do X, Y, and Z, that will rectify the situation. They say yes, you do X, Y, and Z, you send them a present, I promise you, they'll be happy. Okay? It will happen in your business. The reason that we're still business partners is because I have a great I'm sorry program. Okay, it's not like I've never messed up, right? I would love to say I bat 1,000. I don't. I don't even know if that's the right statistic. But I would love to say I'm 100%. I'm not. Okay, I'm not. But I know that 1, I care. 2, I'm very accountable and I'll fix it. And 3, like I have a system for making it better for people. Okay. You need to adopt some form of it, right? They're all the way from like $5 Starbucks cards to like straight up gift baskets to $500, right? Like honestly. So just so you know, like, adopt that.
And I think also too though, kind of preempting, you know, again, what the expectations from your providers are. And Lizzie and I sat many a times and talked about, like, this is what I need, because she knows what my team needs and expects. When I sat with Chris, I said, I am high A personality. Do not put me with an escrow officer that's all mushy and wants to, how are you doing today? I don't give a shit. If we don't talk about that, we'll talk about that over coffee. I just want to talk to you about this file, and most of the times when I answer the phone with most of my agents and them, what's up? Like, it's not that I don't care how you are, I'll ask you that later, but right now I need this done. And that's what I told him, and he matched me up to Linda. And Linda is probably, like, I feel like we could be family, but we had that discussion, right, up front. I think you have to communicate that with the people that you're working with. Do not ask them to do the impossible. Don't tell them I have a borrower with a 300 credit score. Can you just get that loan done? I mean, but realistically, have realistic expectations. But I hold us and myself to the same expectation, right? Like, they both know if I or my team members aren't doing something that I've promised them we would do to make their end smoother, then I need to know that.
And the other thing about having a really excellent title partner is that things will go crazy in your transactions, they just do. Okay, appraisals take long, you're rushing to get docs out. Let me tell you, Linda is a miracle worker. Like, she may chew me a new one, but she never tells the client that. She's like, Lizzie's the best loan officer ever. And I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Right? The same way that she makes Torie like the best real estate agent ever. And you guys, it sucks to be on the title end. Right? It sucks. And I work with so many different title agents, and you get them docs and they make this huge drama scene about the docs being there and how you're going to close late. And it's just like, oh my God. They never do it.
No.
Like, they literally never do it. And I imagine that there's like a voodoo doll or a dartboard with my face on it. I would never know, because they're so great and they just close the transaction and everyone like is always happy in the end. So that's what you need on that end.
Well,
right?
even things that you guys don't think about until it happens. We had a deal recently that, you know, and again, I have so much faith in my partners that I'm just in this bubble where that's not my problem right now, because they're going to take care of it. And if there's a problem outside that they can't take care of, they're going to let me know. So I worry about the things that are elsewhere in problems. And Linda was like on this file, and we were a couple days from closing, and she was like, I'm going to loop you in. We are going to close on time. It's a little outside of what we normally have happen. And I was like, okay, what? And when she said we'll close on time, I had no doubt we were going to close on time. No doubt, because Linda has never not been 100% honest with me. Just like Lizzie.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And so literally there was a lien from some small bank that had went out of business, and Linda had to track down the seller to get them to call the bank that had taken over. It was just this really weird, wacky thing that was going to cloud title and not allow us to close. And Linda did it. Linda literally was like, can you look up this real estate agent so I can get all of her details and make sure they're accurate? Linda went and called her, found the client, called the client, and I'm like, dang, Linda. So things like that will happen. And when people go, oh, it's any title company, I don't care.
It's not.
And because I've had deals where like, hey, we were supposed to close yesterday and I still can't get a hold of you. And you're 10 emails deep and 4 phone calls, and you're like stressing out because this is your client. So partners matter.
So I think we answered your question about swim lanes, yes or no?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Thank you.
Daily routine,
Yep.
we got that?
Linda would
Well-
be here, but she's busy working on all
You
of the
can-
files.
Yeah, you guys, honestly, she's very busy. Don't call her.
So daily routine, one thing I can recommend to you is time blocking.
Time block. Okay.
Time block and do the things like, hey, there's still personal, like I run my household, okay? I still have to do that. No one's gonna get up and take care of all of that. I have to. Now I hire a ton of people. I delegate. I don't clean my house. I don't wash my cars. If I could get someone to do my laundry, I will, but that's dry cleaning. So even things like jeans go to the dry cleaner, because that's not what I want to do. I delegate
Gotta
all
make
the
a lot of
things.
money to dry clean the
Yeah.
jeans.
No, it's not even, I don't care. If it meant that or me eating ramen, I'm gonna eat ramen because I hate laundry. I hate it. Hate it. Anyway,
Horrible.
these are all things that I see are not important to me.
What time do you wake up in the morning?
Anywhere, well, it depends. Some
Four.
days it's 3,
3.
but usually it's between 4 and 5.
What time do you go to sleep?
Sometimes, sometimes 8, 8:30,
Oh,
but
okay.
usually 9.
Okay.
Yeah, but I prep my clients for that. Like, this is what I tell them. This is what you can expect from me. Some of my other agents are up till 10, and they'll tell them, these are my, and I tell people, look, I go to bed pretty early. I'm up early. So if you text me at 9, 9:30 and you don't hear back, I'm gonna text you at 4.
Yeah.
Is that cool? And they're like, oh. But they know. Like, my clients have come to know that if they text me or call me, I'm going to get back to them. And the only time I don't right away is if I'm in something that I need a few minutes. And even then, this thing is amazing.
What does
Like,
3-4 look like? You wake up. Oh.
Yes.
How do you educate your clients to your personalities? It seems like it's a lot like mine.
We're gonna answer that question, it's
Yeah.
excellent. Let's stay on this daily routine thing really quick so we
So
can nail it
my
out.
thing is I wake up, I go and I have my 1 cup of coffee that I drink. And as I'm drinking coffee, again, I have my whole system. I don't pay anything with a debit card because I'm like, this way if it's gone, it's gone. So I have business credit cards that I use every day and a personal one, but I pay it every day. So my first thing is I get on the app, boom, pay that, pay the personal one, good to go. Now I'm in my email. What fires can I put out before everyone else needs me? What fires can I put out before those clients that know they can call me at 6 a.m. start? And then I work out. And that is different. Sometimes I'm at the gym at 4. Sometimes I get to the gym at 4 and I'm like, well, Sunday. It's not open yet. It just depends on, what I'm doing there. And then I'm on it. From there, I'm handling the things that I need to handle. Now my routine's very different though too, because I'm not just an agent, I'm also a team lead. So when Reagan needs my help and it's 7 a.m., I gotta help him handle that. But as an agent, my schedule is very clear. By 7 a.m., I'm ready to go for the entire day. And I mean ready. Like, not, I'm casually, there's nothing that pet peeves me more than to see people like boasting on social that during this COVID, I'm in my pajamas, writing an offer. Look like an idiot. We're professionals. Great, we're working from home, but do you have to put it on blast that you're not a professional? Like, everywhere I go, and when I have to run in here because it's like, shoot, I was at the gym, I'm like, and of course it's usually like someone that I know like very well will see me and I'm like, of course. But the thing is that I have built a professional brand, right? My brand, people always tell me, you're very classic, you're very classic. And now on the backside, when I'm with my team, they crack up because they're like, whoa. But that's who I am, right? You will expect to see me professionally looking no matter what. So that was my day, starting at 7, then I made my calls, then I got into my boomtown, and I believe
How many hours of prospecting?
I would, gosh, all in every day, at least 6, at least.
If you're a new agent, write down, I need to do 4 hours of prospecting every day. If you are a seasoned agent, you typically only need to do 2. She wants to literally sell every house in Maricopa County, so she's doing 6. Right?
The thing about prospecting
She's
too
also
is,
in the top 25 every month.
Is that just like ads or like calling or stuff
yeah,
like
so
that?
you got it, and that's where I think you have to define what your pillars are and what you're going to do. But the perception when I hear somebody tell me, I don't want to bug my friends and family. Yeah, because you're a nuisance. If you tell me that, then you're not the expert. If you pitch yourself to have the knowledge and the data, meaning how's the market? What's average agent going to answer? It's hot. Oh, that's great. My 14-year-old can tell you it's a hot market. But here's the reality. Hey, we have 1.51 months supply of inventory. Do you know what that means? That means if nothing else happened and we didn't take any new listings, and it would take 1.51 months to sell that out. And that's just our latest statistic, which we're waiting on the newest, right? Also, go into that data. Increase of prices was 4% last month over the month before. The month prior to that, it was 2%. And the month before that, it was 2%. Yeah, the market's doing really well. Why do you ask? Because that's where most people start. I have all this knowledge. But why do you ask?
Yeah, that's great.
Well.
How often do you practice your scripting?
I don't. I don't, but you should.
Super
Again, honest, you get black and white.
So
you
she
think-
says, well, and I'm gonna pull the curtain. So she does not practice herself, but she is training. So when you are training, you are practicing.
Yes,
How often do you practice with agents?
all the time, every day, all day. I mean, I have, I
So
have
how
my
often?
agents.
Like an hour a day at least with you?
No.
way more.
Yeah, so I sit and I have a couple of agents that will sit next to me and just listen. Because I'm always handling something. And then they'll say, here's my phone, I just got this text on this lead, here's the background, what do you say? So yes, in that practice, I'm practicing all the time because I'm helping 7, 8 other people currently, plus myself, plus my client database. But scripting should sound natural, right? It shouldn't sound like a script. If I have to tell you, why do you work with me? Well, I sold over 100 homes and, well, here's why. Because no one's going to negotiate better than I will. No one's going to protect you like I will. No one's going to be there and fight for you like I will. Also, responsiveness, I'm going to respond. The only time I don't is if I'm with a client. And just like I'm with you right now, there's somebody maybe texting me, but you deserve my time, undivided. As soon as I'm done, you're going to get a text. If you don't hear from me for a couple hours, you might want to call 911 because I might be dead. Period. Right? That's the key, right? Like, I'm going to tell them why, but it's
So-
not scripted.
Let me take that, okay. Punctuality, core value. Negotiation, core value. Professionalism, core value, right? Did you see? Like, same thing in our scripting. So if you want to be a top producer, you wake up at 4 to 5 a.m., okay? Non-negotiable. You figure your day is planned based on what fires you have, right? She works out. She has to work out to keep her energy. Do you think that she has great energy?
Yeah.
Right, this better be a hell yeah, right?
Woo!
Yeah, so she has tons of energy, right? She practices her scripts, guys, 2 to 3 hours daily, right? If you're teaching people, you're practicing, right? And she prospects 6 hours a day. Okay, how many hours a day is she working? Way more than 8. Okay, you
When
want to
am
be
I
a
not working?
top producer, that's what it takes. Okay,
9
so.
p.m. to 4 a.m.
Okay. Did
That's
we
when I'm
answer
not
your
working.
question on daily routine?
All right, thank you.
Did we? Yes? Yeah?
And I'll be around
That was good.
after too. I'm not going to run off. I was supposed to be running to luxury showings, but we moved it, so we're good.
Thank you.
All right, so 3% commission, how
What
do
are
you
you
get?
worth? Guys, what are you worth? Now then, listen, I am in the market with you. That is one thing that my team can tell you. I'm not the leader that sits at a desk and doesn't get what's happening in the market. I get it. It is tough. Commissions are tough. 2%, 2.5%. I'm licensed in Flagstaff. That's the norm. You say 3% up there, they're like, what are you talking about? The norm up there is 2.5. Like, you're fortunate to get 2.5. But here, yeah, it's all over the place. I get that. And I also understand, and my team will tell you this too, there are going to be times you cannot get 3%. But there, most of the time, you can. But why would I pay for you if you're not worth it? What are you worth? And why are you worth it? So if I tell you I'm absolutely worth 3.5%, but good news is I'm going to get the seller to cover 2.5 of that.
Tactic. Good news, the
Right,
seller is
right.
gonna pay for that.
That's what I told
You're
someone.
getting a huge discount. I'm the best agent. I'm going to save you X, Y, and Z. I sold over 100 houses. You're getting like literally the top, right? Like you don't go to Neiman Marcus expecting to pay Walmart prices, yes or no? You don't, right? So good news, guys, I'm gonna get the seller to pay for this. That's a tactic. Write it down if you didn't have it.
And then, again, you have to, something I talk big on is business decisions, right? Because if you tell me you're gonna cut a commission, I wanna hear the business logic behind it. Not just because, well, the other guy said he would too. Oh, you mean someone else will list your home for 1%? They're probably worth 1%. What are they gonna do for you? Let me tell you what I'm gonna do different and why I set myself apart. Same with the buyer. When you get buyers, if your first thing is to run out and get in front of them to show them a house, if they want to buy a house, I'm going to show them a house. Most of those buyers are not ready to make an offer on that property. But if you sit down and educate a buyer on the process, you have someone that's going to work with you for life. Because
So-
you become an advisor to them.
Torie does a combo of what's called a list summary close and a takeaway close. So list summary means she's gonna list out all of the things and ways that she can help a client and how she's gonna save them time, money, and stress. Okay? And then if they can't commit and they're still saying that they wanna pay 1%, she's like, okay, great. Well, then you can take the 1% agent, I'm gonna leave. That's her combo, right? What happens when you take something away?
They want it more.
Exactly. Now, you cannot mess around with the takeaway clause though.
Yeah,
Do you
it.
believe that she is serious when she's like, cool, I'm walking out?
Yeah.
100%, right? It's just like a breakup. They can tell when you're faking it, right? If you're gonna be like, I'm gonna break up with you, and you don't want to break up with you, they know you're faking
I
it.
think if you do that from the beginning, they're just gonna be a problem client anyway, because they're gonna want more and more.
If you work with Torie, it's her rules. That's it. And that's the one thing that you will have to know, but she's defined that up front. It
Right
is
up
her rules. It'll be Torie's way.
That we're not gonna go into an inspection period and ask for an anti-siphon valve. Cause that's $5 at Home Depot. And if that's what we're worried about, then you must have picked a gem that has nothing else wrong with it. This is what you can expect during the inspection. We define it right up front. It's a buyer consult is what I call it. And I tell them. And sometimes it depends on the client. Again, you have to assess them individually. Sometimes that's done right here in the office. Other times it's, hey, did you want to meet for breakfast? We could talk about how I do business. You're talking to especially when you get into the world. If you're getting sphere leads, those are the easiest leads. You can't convert a sphere lead. Give them to me, I will. But the reality is that when you get into the world of online leads, my team takes in 800 leads a month right now. 800 leads a month. I have to know that he's trained really dang well to get in front of that online lead and to know how to convert him in just a couple minutes, right? But he wasn't trained that way a year ago. He's grown to that. And that's my job to help him get there. But the reality is you have to define your process to them. And what does buying a home in Arizona look like? I have people right now, the ones I'm supposed to be with, they're buying up to $3 million. They own multiple homes. They've never bought one in Arizona. To assume that they know how to buy a home in Arizona is ignorance. They don't. You're the market expert. You're the one that they're coming to, and now you have to show them why you're the expert and what you know about your market and what you know about buying in a home in Arizona and helping them see it.
So one additional thing that Torie does is she utilizes the buyer broker agreement. So she can't always get the seller to pay the 3.5% commission. That's just what it is, right? So sometimes you fill out a buyer broker agreement, which I hope you'll elaborate on. And one of the things that I know of as her partner is that I have to look out for those VIP buyer broker agreements because we have to incorporate for those in our loan cost estimates and as well as title when we're balancing on the CD. If you do not work with a partner who understands what you are getting paid, let me tell you, it's the fastest way to lose money because as they're balancing with the CD and they're showing the clients what they have to bring in, they can mess that up for you, right? And a client's all of a sudden going to go, wait, I don't want to pay $1,500 more at closing. And then who's going to have to concede that, right? A terrible partner will make you pay it. If it's our mistake, I'll pay it, right? If it's their mistake, they help pay for it, right? So like, just so you know, super, super important part if you are going to like try to collect more income from clients. So how do you get a buyer to pay your buyer broker?
So the first thing that we do is we talk about what we charge up front in our buyer consults. Like, this is what we charge. Now again, good news is most of the time I can get the seller to cover that, right? In the event I cannot, I'm going to try to get the seller to cover it in a roundabout way, in a credit in the contract. And then depending on what that is it a percentage, is it a flat fee? Depending on what we're going up against with multiple offers, we'll kind of change it up so it doesn't, it's not like obvious it's the commission for the listing agent, depending what it is. But I tell them up front, in the event I cannot get that covered, I will work with your lender to see what we can do and what the scenarios look like to where it's not all out of your pocket. And then I call Lizzie, is there a way we can rate bump? Is there a way we can X? We usually, like I said, most of the time can find a way to get it put in there as a credit. It's the same way you do it when 3% was more of the norm. And I'm like, yeah, I'll work with you. I charge 3.5%. You can change the script however you want, as long as you show them the value in working with you and why you're worth that.
And the thing is, guys, like in this market where it is so super aggressive, an inexperienced agent isn't going to get your offer accepted. So you're talking about a hypothetical 0.5% or a hypothetical 1% that you're saving. For the hypothetical house you could never get under contract because your agent isn't worth a damn. Right? Like,
And that's
I
your
know for
value.
sure that if I send a client to Torie, they're getting under contract and we're closing. And in this market, guys, let me tell you, a 0.5%, 1% bargain for not getting anything. Like, I have clients literally looking for 6+ months, right? And if they had just been with a better agent, we would have closed. Okay, so that's how you sell it. Do you hear what I said? Like, one, you do a comparison, right? They have to know what the opposite is, right? And then you have to have a tactful way of saying, look, this is what you're paying, this is a bargain.
And then,
And that's a buyer.
Yeah,
Seller
Seller.
too, though. But like, think about it. Like, in a seller situation, what happens? Appraisal doesn't come in at value. Okay, holding people to their lender contingencies, right? Like, if you don't have a great buyer, right, you're going to lose your title leverage. You're going to lose your negotiation leverage in terms of inspections, appraisals, like, you name it. Like, somebody, like, yes, it's a hot market. Anyone could probably sell your house, but they can't sell it for max dollars, and they can't keep a transaction together. And at the end of the day, right, you pay the Ellen's team to close your deal and to close it at the highest net, right? Which sometimes involves a higher commission. A 1% agent, let me tell you, if they're willing to give up 2% of their dollars, 2% of their commission to somebody else, how fast do you think that they're going to give up your money?
that's what and literally, you guys are all probably heard that from Juan. I have my friend who's going to credit me his commission as a buyer. And the first thing I do is I go, wait, I'm confused. I'm not confused, but I'm confused. I'm confused. You're buying the home. Your friend, who's a realtor, is going to credit you money from the commission? Yeah. Wait, is he charging you? Because typically the seller covers the commission. So what do you mean he's going to credit you? If he's not charging you, how is he crediting you? And I'm running around that little circle in their head.
Well, is he not really doing anything on that deal or what?
Well, no, I get to that, but different, right? First, I want to just throw them off a little bit. And they're like, no, he's going to give me money. He's not charging me. He's going to give me money for me to work with him, and I'm just the buyer. I'm like, you're not selling. Like, I get all this out of the way. Yeah. Okay. So basically what you're telling me is this person needs to buy your business. Is that what you're telling me? They don't do enough business, so they need to buy your business. They need to buy that one home because they don't do enough transactions. That concerns me. And then they look at me like, oh. And then I say, you know, the average real estate agent here does 2.6 homes a year. I don't know where the 0.6 is, maybe it's a garage. And they laugh. But I say it just like this, and I go, I sell over 100. If that guy who needs to buy your business because he's not doing enough business can quickly give you the little bit of money he's going to make this year, how in the world is he going to protect your money and negotiate and fight for your money? How's he going to do that? He can't even do it for himself. That's money he feeds his family with. You think he's not going to be quick to spend yours? Then they're looking at you like, great, so we good? You ready to move forward? Yep. 9 out of 10 times that's what you're going to hear. And the one that says no, good luck. Let me know how it goes. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, I'm going to stay in touch with you just enough, and I'll be there to help when the other agent can't get it done.
You always get the, well, my brother does real estate, or my friend, or my
Yeah,
husband.
you know what? And I've
Have that with
sold
my client
people
right now.
houses where their family members did real estate. And I say this to them, that's awesome that they chose that. But do you really confidently, if it's your brother, you probably know him better than anybody. Is that the person you want fighting for you?
I know.
And then I ask them, hey, more than that, can they negotiate at the level? Are they going to be able to fight like I can? Keep business and family separate, because that's really awkward at the dinner table when your brother couldn't protect you the most and you find out later on that he didn't get you the best deal that he could, or that your rate was a bit higher than he should have helped you negotiate. It's really awkward around the dinner table. Don't you want a professional and you can keep that separate? Matter of fact, for your closing gift, I'll buy you and your brother dinner. But why are you going to work with someone who can't protect you? But if I don't have value, they're gonna go to the brother. And there's one-offs, but for the most part, you can win these discussions.
Okay. So how to build clients, okay? So quickest way to build clients, we're just gonna answer this in like 3 ways, okay? Database, so contacting 300 people that you know, like, and trust you, okay? Then there is door knocking, farming, there is internet leads, there is holding open houses, right, to attract buyers. What other ways?
Joining a team
Joining a team that can give you leads.
that has 800 leads a month.
There you go. Other ways.
Having conversations, getting out of your comfort zone, and having conversations with literally everybody you come across. Right? So I have an agent that talked to somebody that delivered food to their team last week. Had a quick conversation, 3-minute conversation, was very, very kind to them. Turns out they were actually looking for a house. Right? I tell people all the time, every time you go out to eat, over compliment your server, even if they sucked. Tell them they were the best person in the world. You were so amazing. Big business card. Right? Simple little things like that. Get out of your comfort zone. Everybody, you walk down hallways, you're at restaurants, everybody kind of does this. Right? Or at the mall, nobody engages anymore. Open yourself up, open up those conversations. You'd be surprised how many people are in a position that you wouldn't ever expect that they would be.
And if you put yourself in their eyes as being that market expert, you're the top of mind. I met somebody randomly in passing, and randomly I mean this. I towed this lady's fifth wheel from an RV park because I used to camp there in my RV, and she remembered me as being so sweet and nice that when she had no one to tow it from Page Springs, an hour and a half away, she called me. And I was like, okay, I'll help, sure. And as I'm dropping her trailer off, 10 minutes from my house, back here in Phoenix, I met the lady who owned the house, and I was like, hey, how are you, blah, blah, blah. We're gonna get this back to you, we're gonna, and I'm just in my role. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, oh, she said you sell house. I do. I'm actually a top performing real estate agent here in the Valley. This is so awesome that you're letting her camp here. Have a great day, and I was gone. 10 minutes, dropped the trailer, I was out. A year and a half later, I got a call from the lady who owned the house of the land. And she said, in the 5 minutes I met you, I knew, and this was a New Yorker, you handled your shit, she said. Just like that. I want you to list my house because I know that no one's going to do it better. I didn't even, there was nothing. I was dropping a trailer. So everyone that comes across you should know who, what, and I'm not talking about that annoying lady that as you're checking out, I sell real estate, look at my realtor badge, you want to buy a house? No. If you go to the same checkout and you see the same lady, how are you doing? Talk to them. Nobody ever wants to just go back to that, how are you? How are things going? Oh, my daughter. Hey, next time I'm in there. Or a restaurant you service a bunch. I know your daughter, you said she was struggling, how's she doing? Remembering those things, right? And just building.
One that I left off on there, those conversations don't have to take place in person. Social media, right? I don't care what platform you're on, you should be on all of them. But having the sincere conversations, not just saying like, right? What is a like? It's a high five. There's no engagement. It's like walking down the hallway and saying, hey, how you doing? Give them a fist bump, because nobody's shaking hands. But actually engaging, asking questions, having that conversation. Saw you just got back from San Diego, how was it? We're thinking about going in 3 months. Where should we go? Where should we not go? Are you going to San Diego in 3 months? Who cares? We're just engaging these people.
So recipe for lead gen, 10 great conversations every single day. Write this down. This is good. So 10 great conversations every single day, 2 personal notes every single day, 1 in-person meeting every single day, right? Try to host 2 to 4 different educational events, whether it's on social media, or it's on a video, or it's an in-person event per week.
How many?
2 to 4. Okay, I've done that for years, guys. Like,
Nobody knows that aspect of personal touch better than you. When you have a birthday and you're in her network, what do you get? Sprinkles cupcakes.
Cupcakes.
Not just cupcakes, sprinkles.
Those cupcakes.
The best of the best, right? And you get that. And there's things that she does on a very consistent basis that anyone that works with her knows this is what Lizzie does. And that was, sit down. I mean, people don't think about that. Don't just hound having coffee or having lunch or whatever. Just sit down and talk with them. Naturally, the conversation's gonna come up. Naturally, they're gonna ask you. But just be there, face to faces. There should be a minimum. We have minimums on our team of like, okay, you wanna do this business level, this is what we do.
If you do the recipe though very, very consistently, you guys will generate anywhere between 25 to 100 leads a month. There's no way you wouldn't be a top performer doing it. Okay, it would be like you would literally have to suck the worst in ever, and even then I still think you would close at least 1 to 2 deals. Okay?
If you don't know who to call, go back to using your calendar. How many weeks are there in a year?
52.
How many letters in the alphabet?
26.
Yeah, start with A.
Start with A week 1. Everybody last name starts with letter A. B is week 2, C is week 3. Utilize those to mix up the 10 points you talked about. Now it's in your calendar, you can't screw it up. And go through your alphabet. And then what happens? First week of July, you're back to your A's.
Yeah, but it's not weird to talk to people twice a year, you know?
That's a minimum. Obviously you can do more than that. But at least that way it sets a schedule for them.
All right.
Networking, talk to everybody.
How do you find a quality lender? How do you find a quality title person? How, like, if you didn't join a team, right? How would you find someone?
So for me, it was obviously, I would call referral, but I was networking. I was at her event, she was networking, and I was talking to the other people in my industry, right? I don't just go anywhere and sit in a corner. Can you picture me sitting quiet by myself? Nope. I mean, literally my business coach says, Torie, I could put you on a park bench with no one there and you would make the trees talk to you. You would find a way to have the trees talk to you. And that's the reality though, right? Is that networking, I think you need to start. Anybody that you do know, utilize that and work referral. I mean, my home group is an amazing company. You could go to their mastermind and ask, hey, I need a Hispanic speaking lender. 40 comments later, there's all these people, and then interview them.
I would recommend going to events. So that's how I started. So I went to a bunch of industry related events. So classes, seminars, happy hours, and then I talked to people. And then truthfully, I'm a gut person. So if my gut says I don't like you, I don't talk to you. If my gut says I love you, I talk to you. And that's just how it goes for me. We are either gut decision makers, heart-centered decision makers, or thinkers, right? So you know how you make a decision. You do a ton of research, right? Are you like doing it because you're just like, love them for some reason, right? Or is it like you just know, right? So that's kind of what I did. And then I do business with people that are same desires, right? So have big goals, right? They have plans, they have good systems, they want to go tackle the world, you know?
And they've got a mastermind in here
I know.
after this. So we've got 10 minutes. Here's the thing. We didn't get through everything. We have 10 minutes to vacate.
Got one last question.
Okay.
You could do this. Come on. They got 10 minutes, guys.
Okay. What was your question other than expectations?
So expectations, right? So you heard that she said that she had a buyer consult, okay, where she itemizes how she does business. These are the rules to her business, which I mentioned were the core values, right? That's how you tell people how to do business with you.
When you went to school and you had class, they told you what your expectation was, right? I think you have to have expectations on a personal level to succeed in business. And you have to set the expectation for anyone that's going to work with you. This is what you'll expect from me, but this is what I expect from you. This cannot be just one-sided, because this industry will run you to the ground if you let it, if you don't say up front, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I need you to do. In other words, if your hours are until 8 p.m., I'd ask that you understand that after 8, my phone is on quiet, unless there's a sheer fire emergency, and then when I'm up at 6, I'm back at it, whatever that is. I'm not going to get into my beliefs on when people say, I don't work Sundays. I don't know how you do that. Either way, you have to tell them what they can expect from you, but what you expect from them. And
what will make this easier for you guys to know is 60% of the population does the next thing you tell them to. How many times have I told you guys to write something down and you guys wrote it down? Okay, it happens. So like if If you have qualified me as somebody that you feel that you respect and you want to learn from, right, you'll do the things I ask you to do. It's very easy to actually set expectations. The more difficult thing is for you to follow your own expectations, right, when somebody throws you a curveball. Okay, so if somebody throws you a curveball, if you're willing to throw your rules out the window, they shouldn't be a core value. Okay, so you should have 3 to 5 different rules for how you do business. So like hers are timing, right? She wants somebody who's very, very available, right? And somebody who like will, surrender, right? And so like, these are the rules. You take it or you leave it, right? And there's a variety of ways that you can do business, but you have to know them and be so crystal clear and be so 100% bought into them. Otherwise they don't work, okay? But buyer consult, core values, right? And know that 60% of the population is just gonna go with the flow, just give them the next step.
And educating buyers is so, most people don't. They're just quick to run out and show them a house, not talk them through that and educate them. So we're not going anywhere. What I would like each of you to do though, because I was big, they asked me to do this thing on Zoom and I'm like, I'm not doing another Zoom. I can't, that's not me on Zoom. I'm like sitting and this is me where I want to move and talk. So number one, thank you guys so much for coming because this is huge to have I can see you guys. But if there's topics you would like me to cover, because they're constantly asking me to teach a class and I'm like, cool.
Correct.
What do people want to hear, right? So if there's things that you would like to hear, if you could just take one of the papers out there, write on it, and tell me what you'd like to hear. When they ask me to teach again, I'll be like, great, I've got 5 classes, what would you like? When, right? And again, we're not going anywhere.
There's lunch over.
Lunch by Lizzie.
And if you guys are considering a team, if you're new to the industry or want to, step up your game, Torie is hiring. I know she didn't say it. She's amazing. And honestly, if you're looking for a team, I would definitely interview there. And if you found any of the information that Chris and I, if you found it valuable for your business, we're always looking to take on new partners and we'd love to help you with your transactions. So.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I don't do item loans. Typically hard money. Hard money.
Do you know anybody?
I don't, but I,
Yeah, this is it.
do you guys have anyone for I-10? Hard money? Yeah, do you?
Yeah, but honestly, I haven't really worked with them so much, I'd rather not.
I know, Daniel Barraza has someone. Daniel Barraza, he's a my computer agent.